And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. I am also one of your 2 co-hosts on this program. I am joined this week, as every week, by our other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, it's been a couple of weeks here, but how you doing?
Doing well, Rich, trying to survive the sweltering Southern California heat. Heat wave, wildfires, quarantine, trifecta. How about you, Rich?
You know what? After hearing that and the series of plagues you're dealing with down there, I'm feeling comparatively good here in Seattle.
Well, good. It's good to have you back.
Well, thank you very much. And let's just plunge right into the news here. And our top story this week comes to us from NinjaRMM, a younger RMM player or in the managed services software space. They've been around 6-7 years or so at this point. And, you know, they've got the letters RMM right there in the name. RMM is what they've been all about up to this point in their evolution, but that has changed this week. This week, Ninja came out with a data protection product, a backup system for files and folders on workstations and servers. It's going to gain the ability to do full image backups down the road a little bit towards the end of the year as well. But this is obviously a new addition to the Ninja portfolio and a new direction for the company strategically. So it's interesting, you know, simply for anyone who is investigating data protection products, certainly anybody who uses the NinjaRMM platform, because there's some, you know, good solid functionality in this system. Obviously, as you would expect, the integration between the data protection system and the RMM platform is very tight. So I'm sure anybody who is a Ninja partner will be taking a close look at this. From a bigger picture standpoint, what's interesting about this, Eric, is that, you know, Ninja has been all about one piece of the software stack for MSPs up until this point. It's all been about RMM. Now they've got 2 solutions, 2 pieces of the stack in their portfolio. And while they are not providing any details whatsoever, they make no bones about the fact that there will be additional solutions coming down the road. They have set up, this is basically the first big step on their part, down the road towards becoming another one of the players in that market for complete integrated suites of managed services software. And the big names there are obviously ConnectWise and Datto and Kaseya and SolarWinds MSP. There are others that do it as well. Ninja wants to be another name in that market, and they, you know, they refer to themselves sometimes, I think internally as much as anything else, as an emerging market leader. They want to be an actual market leader with some of those other companies that I mentioned before, and this is their first big kind of decisive step in that direction. And so we shall see over the months and years ahead what other products join the Ninja portfolio. You know, is there a PSA system coming? Do they have security software coming? They won't say, but they do have more on the way.
Yeah, it is a it is a surprise to me on the pivot, and certainly what a way to kind of, you know, have everyone take note. It says, oh yes, this is part of our larger strategy. So, you know, we will be making more investments. I mean, Rich, this is, you know, just another example of a vendor coming into the space and then rolling out, you know, a larger SaaS strategy with, you know, either acquisitions or new features and benefits, growing within this ecosystem that is under such intense attention from you know, PE firms and investors and equity and M&A and things like that. And, you know, I was just reading an article the other day about all of the new funds that are being spun up by these firms to continue making acquisitions and investments in our industry. And, you know, I've got to say, you know, it's no coincidence that more strategic vendors are positioning themselves to take advantage of the opportunities here and grow.
Or I suppose that that vendors in that space are thinking strategically as well in terms of how they want to position themselves to potential users and potential buyers. I mean, one of the things that's sort of interesting about this is, there are the big suites and the big suite software makers, but then there are also the specialists in particular segments of what managed service providers do. There are companies like Axient that are really just about data protection, for example. Ninja was one of those, I won't call it niche, but narrower players before. They did one thing and they, strive to do it really, really well. They're kind of moving in another direction. I won't go so far as to say this is a sign of what everybody is going to have to do at some point down the road, but it is sort of interesting that these folks in particular decided that they had a stronger, a brighter future ahead of them if they were about more than just one of the applications that MSPs need.
Yeah, and I'd say that there's room for more players. I mean, obviously, I work with a lot of partners that each have their own perspective. Either their praise or less than praise for the vendors that they're working with and the solutions that they feel are changing over time, which is kind of a kind of side effect of focus being acquisition, integration, growth in these other areas. And some of these partners are maybe feeling disenfranchised because they see an effect or impact in innovation and improvement in some of these core products that they've invested in and relied on so heavily for all these years. So I think there's room for other players for sure.
Well, Ninja has changed its role in the managed services software market this week. Role changes happen not just with vendors, but with MSPs as well, Eric, and I believe that has something to do with your tip of the week.
It certainly does, Rich. A nice intro. And again, the tip of the week this week is kind of one of those ripped from the headlines, directly related to some conversations I've been having with a couple of clients. And what I want to verbalize is the importance of continual reinforcement of your leadership and key staff's roles, responsibilities, and positions within your organization. So I recently had an opportunity to have a couple of conversations with some clients, a couple of their key staff who were letting me know how they felt about how the company has been growing and some of their core responsibilities being moved over to other resources or other departments, and them feeling like for some reason their value to the organization or their role has been not as clear, and needing some direction or some reinforcement. And my message to business owners is, listen, we all want to grow our businesses strategically. And in that growth, it's natural for us to spin up another business unit and bring in more resources to try to load balance and move things off of other people's plates in order to allow them to do the things that only they can do, right? That's our goal, is to replace ourselves and to be working on the things that only we or our specialists or our teams can do, in the midst of the whirlwind of distractions and things like that. And sometimes in doing so, we fail to appreciate the necessity to reinforce the value that our team has, whose tasks and roles are being shifted to others, and reinforce and strengthen their value to the organization, and also to maybe clarify what their role is if it's been changed, or reinforce that no, your role is the same. I'm just trying to give you more runway for you to knock these things out and be more effective and efficient. So I think the takeaway here, Rich, is always to have a very clear communication strategy and a clear progression strategy for your team, so folks don't feel that because you're moving some roles to some other folks that somehow their value is diminished or they should be uncertain about their future. And for those of you that are out there that feel this way, my recommendation is speak to your direct leadership and ask for that clarification. No one should ever wonder, what their value is or what their role is. It should be very, very clear when you're trying to build an organization and be a great strategic asset to an organization. There should be no question about what someone is being expected to do and how their performance is being measured in doing that. So this is more about, moving so fast that we fail to stop for a minute and maintain that clear leadership and direction and communication and reinforcement to our teams.
It's funny as businesses grow, and they're adding new people, they're adding new business units, as you said. Maybe they're acquiring other companies. It's very easy, and it's also very natural to focus a lot of your attention as a leader on all that stuff that's new, and to sort of think maybe just in the back of your mind that the existing leadership team, the existing assets I have at the company, that's all set. Nothing much has changed there. I really need to focus my attention on what's new in the company. And in fact, sometimes those people who have been with the company for a while, they begin to lose, as you say, they begin to lose sight of their role and their value in the company as it's growing and evolving and so on. So it's easy to lose sight of that. And I think it's a great piece of advice just to remember that even if you are unconsciously or consciously thinking to yourself that the people who have been with the company for a while, are just kind of rolling along doing what they've been doing, it can be helpful and necessary for them to be reminded that they continue to play an important role in the company. And if that role has changed at all, make sure that they understand that too.
Yeah. And, you put another point on it, Rich. I mean, the worst example of when that goes wrong is when some of your valued staff leaves, right? And that catches you completely by surprise. It's like the same conversation we have when clients leave for another provider because we're not in tune with what they're really feeling, and we're not having those critical discussions with them and client satisfaction type of things and that kind of thing. So again, it's all about maintaining that communication and that open door policy and making sure that everyone feels valued and understands what their role is and where they fit in the organization and how they can succeed and how they can move up in the organization. We've talked about that on this program many times.
Well, we have got time for just one more story this week, folks. It comes to us from New Zealand. I'm just going to guess this will resonate at least a little bit with any parent in the audience out there right now. So let's just go back to the year 2018 when a 5-year-old child in the southern part of New Zealand is playing with his Lego set, goes to his parents and says, I have lost a small Lego piece up my nose. I shoved it up my nose and now I don't know where it is up there anymore. And his parents take a look up there. They're not seeing anything. They take him to the doctor. The doctor looks around. He's not seeing anything. He says, don't worry about it. Probably didn't even happen. And if it did, it'll pass through his system and no one's going to get hurt. Fast forward to this summer, and that same child, who is now 7, complains to his mother one day that he's got some pain in his nose and feels like there might be something stuck up there, and she helps him blow his nose. And you guessed it, what drops out 2 years after it went up there? And we won't even talk about what it looked like at that point. But by golly, he was telling the truth, and he's been, or had been, toting around that little Lego for 2 solid years in his nose.
Well, I tell you what, and in the article, it went on to say that he was so happy he finally found
it. He still got the set, and now it's complete again. Happy ending to the story. Well, folks, that is it for this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back again next week with another episode. If you like the show, you're thinking maybe you'd like to catch up on some episodes you missed in the past, you want to know about the new ones when they become available, the thing to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube and subscribe there. Make sure you click that little bell icon if you want to get notified when the new episodes go up. To read more about NinjaRMM and its new data protection solution, its new strategy, also just to get great business growth advice for your company, a place to go is ChannelProNetwork.com. We have got awesome new content for you every day there. To learn more about Erick and the work that he does with his clients, please visit ErickSimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So as I say, we'll be back again next week with another episode of the 5-Minute Roundup. Until then, folks, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.